guys, it's Rebecca. So today I'm going to be doing my November wrap-up video, so all of the books that I've read in November. I didn't read that many books, to be honest, because one of them was quite a big book, and I am a slow reader, so I don't often actually get through that many books in a month. I average about like 4 or 5 books in a month maximum, so one of them was quite a big one, so I'm gonna let myself off with this. In total I finished 4 books, so I am really happy with that considering the size of one of them is a 700-page book. But anyway, let's get into the books that I finished. So the first book that I finished was Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I think, to be honest, I finished this more like at the end of October or something. I'm not actually really sure, but I don't think I've actually talked about this one yet, so I just thought I would include it. This one is basically about a group of rich people. It's kind of like Gossip Girl, so it's like a group of really rich socialite friends. We follow the main characters BJ and Magnolia, so we get like dual point of view. It basically follows like their like toxic relationship. They jump between like best friends, but they also like dated for a bit, and it's just like this kind of like dramatic kind of like friendship kind of thing. So I did give this one 3 stars. I felt like it was like quite repetitive because it does go on and on and on and on and on about, oh, I love him, I hate him, I shouldn't be with him, and you just get that same thing like over and over and over again, and they just keep telling us how much they love each other. A lot of it was just like constantly like repeating, and I did get like bored of it at times, but then also it was like weirdly like intriguing and like weirdly good. It isn't that well written, but I do appreciate that it is just meant to be like this like kind of like fun romance, so like I didn't like read it down for that reason. I just did find that because it wasn't that well written, that played into that like repetitiveness. I can 100% see why people love this, and I am definitely going to be continuing on to Daisy Hates. That is in my TBR for December. I was expecting this to be better because I absolutely love Gossip Girl, but there's some bits that are just like a bit cringe, and like I know that it's not meant to be like that serious or whatever, but it still did feel like kind of cringe, and I just couldn't really get into it at certain points. I am intrigued to see what happens next, and I did enjoy it, and I feel like 3 is a decent rating. I am happy enough, and I am glad that I read it because I did want to see what all of the hype was about. So the next book that I finished in November was Misery by Stephen King. I am like really torn on my rating for this because I feel like I've never really read anything like this before, and I haven't ever read a Stephen King book before, so this was my first Stephen King. I'm just like really not sure how I feel about it. Like I liked it and I think it's really well written, but like I'm not sure how much I enjoyed it, and I usually rate on like enjoyment kind of with how much I feel it was well written. I just like really didn't know how to like put, yes, I think this is really well written, but I didn't really actually enjoy it that much, but I also kind of did enjoy it, but like I really don't know. So I've gone with 3 stars on Goodreads, but I do feel like it's definitely much closer to like a 3.5. I never really rate in half ratings. I do try to like keep it just like full ratings because I can't keep track of it. I like to just rate exactly what I'm rating on Goodreads, but I do feel like it is definitely more of a 3.5, but I didn't feel like I enjoyed it enough for a 4. But I feel like it's too well written for a 3. Just didn't know like really how to rate this one. I did really like this and I would recommend this. It is definitely different to anything I've read before, and like I can see how amazing Stephen King is as a writer. How he builds up suspense and everything is amazing. I do like really appreciate this book, and I would definitely read more Stephen King, but I'm just not really sure about it. I realise I haven't said actually what this book is about yet, but basically it follows this writer who ends up in a car crash and he finds himself in this woman Annie's house. His legs are broken. She used to be a nurse, so she has this endless supply of like morphine based drugs. She starts to drug him to like ease the pain and look after him, but she starts to force him to write another book in the series that he loves, and he had recently killed off the main character, so the books were finished. She then forces him and keeps him captive and forces him to bring this main character back to life and write another book. Okay, so my camera overheated, so I think I was talking about Misery, but I'm not really sure. So anyway, yeah, I gave this 3.5 stars. So yeah, I did enjoy it. The next book that I read was actually an audiobook, and that was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I actually really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. It did take me like quite a while to read it because I'm like not very good at like remembering to actually put on my audiobook, but I really enjoyed it. It wasn't quite 5 stars, but it's like one of those books where like nothing really happens, but I did think it was like really well written. I know this is Sally Rooney is one of those people that you either hate or love, but I actually really enjoyed that one. Basically that book is about this girl who is a writer and she goes to Trinity College in Dublin and she meets this woman Melissa and ends up having an affair with Melissa's husband Nick, and that's like the whole plot. It's kind of like nothing really happens, it's just like how that plays out and how that happens. I really enjoyed it. Like I thought all the characters were really well developed. I just thought it was really well written and I really enjoyed it, but completely see why some people might not like that one. But I really enjoyed it and I did give it 4 stars. And so the last book that I read in November was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. This was the one that is quite big. It is 700 pages, so it did take up a lot of my reading time. Plus I was doing an exam, so I didn't get to read that much, even though I was really excited to just read this like all the time. I didn't get a chance to actually be reading that much, but I have finished this. I finished it right at the end of the month. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. I think that this is my favourite of all of the ACOTAR books so far. I have done a little reading vlog out of the last part of me reading this, so that will be coming out, I don't know when, probably after this video, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was the best one out of the books so far. I would really like to go back now and read ACOTAR and ACOMAF just because I know that I love the characters. I feel like this series it has taken me a bit longer than usual with Sarah J Maas to start really loving the characters, but this one after ACOMAF was like the perfect like follow-up to it and I really enjoyed it. But I'll definitely be continuing on to that and I'll definitely be finishing the series. I just love Sarah J Maas. Like I'm a massive Sarah J Maas fan, so I really enjoyed this one and I can't wait to get on to the next one. So that's all for this video. That's all of the books that I read this month. Please let me know if you have read any of these and what your thoughts are on them, and even if you don't like them just like let me know and then in the comments we can talk about them. And if you did enjoy this video then please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you again so much for watching and I will see you in the next one.